say, because
maybe not in terms of that. Maybe there will be I don't know if this is possible, but there will be certain things you might not be able to access. It's not so much in terms of taking them back, but in terms of how they will be treated while they are there.
Well, that's an assumption. I don't think it's going to happen, because really, the MNP is not just here. I mean, you have it in different parts of the world where it's actually about giving power, the power of choice to the consumer. It's about really the consumer having the power to choose whom will serve him. So really, it's not really about if I get back, I could be punished, and because of that, I stick to my network. And of course, really, in the regulations, we have provision for sanction for any network that wants to punish a particular subscriber. For instance, you make a port order request, and within 48 hours, your service provider is not willing to let go. If it's reported to the commission, there is sanction for that.
Okay, so they have to give their word. That means there has to be that collaboration between my network provider and the intended.
Absolutely. Now, there are 3 parties that are going to be involved for any porting process. Now, your current network, that is service provider,
okay, the
mobile number portability operator, who is the administrator, and then also the network that you want to port to. These are the 3, and of course NCC as the regulator to oversee all of that happening. Now, so when you make your request from the customer care center of the network that you want to port to, now you will be given a form to fill, complete some processes, which will be handed over to the administrator. The administrator will also liaise with the network where you're porting from, and then ensure that process takes place. Now, that's why it's just like having an interconnect a clearinghouse where you have someone that administers the issue of interconnection between networks. So the same thing you have here. The administrator is there to facilitate the issue of administration, billing related issues, and also ensure that the networks comply with the rules and the guidelines for porting. Mm-hmm. So you have like the administrator there in the middle. Then you have the network you're using, and then the network you're porting to. So those are the 3 parties involved.
Who is the administrator, and how independent will they be?
The administrator, of course, is independent. Remember the commission licensed an administrator. You have is a consortium.
Okay.
Yes, of ICN, SAP Green Tech, and another organization coming together, to form that consortium.
Anyone from any of the service providers who is going to be with the administrator?
No.
Okay.
I mean, because you need to have an independent body to do that.
Okay.
The company in Nigeria that actually is going to run that is ICN, Interconnect Clearing House Nigeria Limited. Now that's ICN, and of course in partnership with some other organizations. So those are the people that are going to administer the number port process.
Do you see confusion? I mean, a host of people know that when you have a certain number, they can immediately tell what network provider you're with. Do you see a problem with confusion in terms of, numbers belonging to certain network providers and now they've moved?
No, there's not going to be any confusion. For instance, if you travel out of the country today, now anyone that's calling you and you're roaming, for instance, anyone that is calling you, say, in the UK, they'll still call you on your number. It could either be roaming on T-Mobile, or it could be on Vodafone, or it could be any other network. So it's something similar. So the person who calls you is calling your number, may not really know the network that is providing service to you. It's the same number you've been using over the years, but you're on platform B instead of A. So the one who is called, except you tell your friends or colleagues, nobody really knows what network you're on. The important thing is that you're having services. So and that's why you have the administrator there, to look at the issue, resolve the administrative issues that will arise from the porting processes. If there are challenges, the administrator takes it up. Issues of billing, to make sure that there's a reconciliation in terms of billing and all of that. And then also that if you have certain credit on your phone, maybe you're a post-paid customer, you're moving to another, all of such issues, So, and then assuming there's a request and someone is not getting a kind of required response from your service provider, then the administrator is there. But of course, the NCC also, as a regulator, would ensure that these processes and the guidelines are followed. And where we see some breaches, of course, there will be sanctions.
Are we making complaints, forums for complaints more accessible? Because you definitely will be getting possibly more complaints as the days go by. You don't foresee a situation whereby that might come up?
Yeah, of course, in this service-oriented industry, of course, you wouldn't rule out the possibility of complaints in terms of services, just like what you have in other, like the airlines and all of that. But you see, once you have guidelines in place, and you also have clear-cut rules and regulations, and everybody knows, what is on the checklist for them to do. Once there's a breach, it's very easy for you to detect a breach. Well, we had published our report of the processes, some time ago, and this had been reviewed with all the service providers. Every service provider, of course, knows what to do. And we also have a regulation for mobile number portability. And that regulation provides for what each party should do in the case of a port of the request. And then also the responsibility of the administrator, the responsibility of the network you are porting into, and the network that you are also porting from. So all of these are clearly spelled. And of course, we have our customer care number, which probably I will give to you before I leave here, where subscribers can call into in the event they are having challenges with porting from their current network to the network of choice.
You talked about a checklist for service providers. What should consumers expect? Do you have a checklist for them in terms of expectations as well?
What we have in the past few days, we have been putting in the papers and even on our website, frequently asked questions. All of these things are there on our Facebook page, on our Twitter. All of those things are there. People can go to our website and actually see the frequently asked questions, what to expect, what to do, and then, of course, even the SMS number to dial into, when you want to port. And then, of course, what will happen when you have made a request. And I would also want to say that once a port order request has been filed and you have sent in that text number, porting cannot be aborted. So those are the processes that people need.
Just hold the thought. We'll take a quick moment.